You will not conquer the world until you conquer yourself. The battle you're fighting isn't out there. It's not against the economy, the algorithm, or the opinions of men. The true war, the one that defines everything, is happening inside you. Every day, every hour, every moment. And the truth is brutal. Most people have already lost. They've surrendered to doubt. They've been taken prisoner by comfort. They've negotiated with fear, bartered with procrastination, and fallen asleep at the wheel of their own lives. But you're still here. You haven't folded, not yet. And that means there's something in you still ready to fight. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This was not poetry. It was a command, a reminder that your mind is not a playground. It is a battleground. And if you don't master it, it will master you. Every great man who ever lived knew this. Edison didn't invent in ease. He created in obsession. Lincoln didn't lead because he was born a leader. He forged character in grief, doubt, and failure. Carnegie didn't rise by luck. He disciplined his thinking until the world bowed to his vision. They all fought the same war. The war of self-doubt, the war of fear, the war of delay and laziness and self-pity, the war of "I don't feel like it today," the war of "maybe later," the war of the weaker voice trying to kill the stronger one inside them. You hear those voices too. One tells you to get up. The other whispers, "Rest a little longer." One tells you to move. The other says, "You're not ready yet." One wants growth, the other wants safety. You're not crazy, you're not broken, you're human. But humans are capable of rising above their instincts. And that is what separates the average from the unstoppable. The average man listens to the loudest voice in his head. The strong man chooses the right one. That is your job now. To make the harder choice. To override the emotion. To train your mind to serve you, not sabotage you. There is a voice in you. A deeper voice. Quieter. Older. It doesn't scream. It doesn't panic. It speaks with certainty because it comes from truth, from soul. That voice doesn't care how you feel right now. It cares about who you are becoming. That voice wants you to keep going, especially when no one's watching. It wants you to speak truth when it would be easier to lie. To get back up when you failed 10 times in a row. To act from vision, not from impulse. And the more you obey it, the louder it becomes. That's how self-mastery is born. You don't become strong by talking about it. You become strong when you make one correct decision, and then another, and another, until your life is no longer ruled by moods or excuses, but by discipline. And yes, discipline is painful. It burns. It requires sacrifice. But do you know what's worse? The pain of knowing you could have been more. The agony of wasted years. The slow death of potential rotting in comfort. There is no suffering worse than the regret of knowing you surrendered to the enemy inside. That's what you're really avoiding when you train. When you read, when you build, when you show up, you are refusing to betray your future. That is the real reason to wake up early, to grind, to focus. Not for the applause, not for the money, not for the trophies, but because deep down, you are tired of losing the war. You are tired of being average, tired of being controlled by emotion, tired of giving your best energy to things that do not build you. This is the moment where it changes, not with fireworks, not with fanfare, but with a decision, a single internal decision. I will no longer negotiate with weakness. You have to become the general of your own mind, because your thoughts are soldiers. And if you don't lead them, they will lead you. You must choose your thoughts the way a warrior chooses his weapons: sharpened, intentional, lethal to limitation. Every thought you allow feeds one of two wolves, one that builds you, one that destroys you, and whichever one you feed wins. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." So, what color are you painting your mind? Fear, lust, comparison, distraction, or focus? Gratitude, conviction, vision. The quality of your life will never rise above the quality of your thoughts. That is not philosophy. That is physics. You're either mastering your inner world or you are being mastered by it. And listen closely. You will not be perfect. You will stumble. You will have days where the weak voice wins. You will fall into anger or laziness or ego. But you do not stay there. You regroup. You recalibrate. You return to the fight. Because warriors don't quit when they're wounded. They bleed. They breathe. They rise. That's what makes them warriors. It's not about always winning. It's about refusing to stay defeated. Every time you override a weak thought, every time you choose clarity over chaos, action over excuse, progress over comfort, you win a battle. And those daily battles, they add up. They become your legacy. The war within is not one day, it is every day. And you are not fighting for pleasure. You are not fighting for applause. You are not even fighting for success. You are fighting for freedom. Because the man who has mastered his mind is free in any situation. He does not crumble under pressure. He does not beg for approval. He does not panic in uncertainty. He moves with power because he is anchored inside. That is what you're after. Not just power, but inner peace. Not just strength, but stillness. Not just success, but self-respect. And you earn all of it by winning the war within. The enemy is clever. It doesn't always show up as fear or failure. Sometimes it shows up wearing a smile, disguised as comfort, disguised as taking a break, disguised as you deserve it. But let me ask you something. Do you want comfort or do you want greatness? Because you don't get both. One builds your throne. The other digs your grave. The path to mastery is not paved with ease. It is built stone by stone with effort, repetition, and resolve. And no one will hand it to you. No one will fight your war for you. The world will give you reasons to quit, but you must give yourself reasons to continue. You want a sharp mind? Then feed it the right thoughts. You want strength? Then stop negotiating with excuses. You want peace? Then train until chaos can't shake you. This is not just about motivation. Motivation fades. This is about identity, about who you decide to become when the world isn't watching. Because when you win the war within, everything outside begins to change. You no longer react to life. You respond to it with strategy, with grace, with calm precision. Because the storm no longer rages inside you. You think people like Marcus Aurelius sat around waiting for inspiration? He ruled an empire, buried children, led armies, fought disease, betrayal, and death itself. And still, he journaled, he reflected, he practiced control. Why? Because he knew the chaos outside could only be met with calm inside. He trained his soul daily, not for show, but for survival. And here you are, centuries later, still struggling with the same shadows, still caught between who you are and who you could be, still waiting for the world to hand you clarity, when all along it was waiting for you to choose. You are not here to repeat yesterday. You are not here to float through life hoping for change. You are here to forge yourself, to discipline your desires, to build an unshakable foundation, stone by stone, thought by thought, choice by choice. There are men whose minds are prisons. They are chained by anxiety, consumed by jealousy, tortured by fear. They appear free, but inside they are at war and they are losing. And then there are others. Men who walk through fire untouched. Men who move through failure, rejection, and loss with peace in their chest and steel in their spine. The difference? Not talent, not luck, not intelligence, control, the discipline of their inner world. Because once you control your mind, you control your focus, you control your energy, you control your direction. And when you control your direction, you shape destiny. You want to be great? Then stop waiting to feel like it. Your feelings were never the measure. Your feelings are weather, and greatness is built in the storm. You don't get strong by waiting. You get strong by choosing, and then choosing again, and again, and again. When it's hard, when it's boring, when no one's clapping, when everything in you wants to quit, and you still move forward. That's what changes you. Not what you do once, but what you become through repetition. Self-mastery is not a moment. It is a lifestyle. And yes, it will be lonely. Most won't understand you. They'll tell you to slow down, to take it easy, to be more balanced. But what they call balance, is compromise. Let them coast, let them rest. You are on a different mission. You're not here to blend in. You're here to build something, to sharpen your mind like a blade, to speak truth when it's costly, to stand tall when it's hard, to give more than you take, to be worthy of the life you want. That requires standards, conviction, brutal honesty with yourself. You do not need more motivation. You need momentum. One clean decision, then another, then another. And soon you wake up in a different world. Not because it changed, but because you did. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not your emotions. You are not your mistakes. You are the commander of your mind, the architect of your reality, the warrior of your soul. You were not born to be controlled. You were born to rise, to fight the invisible battles and win, to walk into every room anchored in purpose, to make decisions with clarity, to live with fire, to speak with truth, to give your life, not just your time. And yes, it will be hard. It's supposed to be, because nothing is more difficult and nothing is more worth it than winning the war within. There is a part of you that remembers. It remembers who you were before the world told you to shrink, before fear crept in, before you started living like you had time to waste. That part of you doesn't care about likes, followers, or validation. It cares about integrity. It cares about living in alignment with the truth. And the truth is, you were not made to coast. You were not made to consume. You were made to create, to build, to become. This life is not a rehearsal. There are no do-overs. And one day, much sooner than you think, you'll have to answer for what you did with it. Not to the world, not to your critics, to yourself. Did you become what you were capable of? Did you give your gifts away or hoard them in fear? Did you show up with your whole soul or just your highlight reel? You're not fighting for applause. You're fighting for the mirror. To be able to look yourself in the eyes and say, I chose to live fully. I chose the hard road. I chose to rise. Because life is not measured in years. It's measured in decisions. And some decisions, they redefine you. The decision to show up when no one believes in you. The decision to go again after failure. the decision to cut off comfort like a poisoned limb, the decision to forgive, to focus, to stand back up and keep swinging. That's the war, and most people don't even realize they're in it. They walk through life asleep, reacting, scrolling, comparing, settling. But not you, not anymore. Because now you've seen the truth, that every thought is a thread in the fabric of your future, that your life is not happening to you. It's being shaped by you. That's the power of self-mastery. It changes everything. Most people lose because they're fighting the wrong battles. They fight for status, for attention, for shallow validation. But you fight for something real. You fight to become whole, to be complete in silence, not just loud in public, to be respected by your soul, not just envied by strangers. That's rare. That's sacred. So don't expect the world to cheer you on. It won't. But it will watch. It will watch you become the man who does not flinch, the man who builds when others scroll, who leads when others shrink, who speaks with weight because he has earned the right. Your mind will resist. Your body will ache. The path will test you in ways you didn't ask for. And when it does, remember this: the war within isn't meant to break you. It's meant to reveal you. The weak parts, the scared parts, the impatient, entitled, distracted parts. They rise to the surface not to shame you, but to be burned away. Steel is forged in fire, and so are you. The heat of adversity doesn't destroy you. It removes what you are not, so what's left can finally shine. And you'll have moments, dark ones, moments where the voices return, where doubt drips like poison, where the path seems pointless, and quitting feels like the only sane choice. But those moments are not the enemy. They are your invitation to remember, to recommit, to rise even shakily and keep walking. Because power isn't being fearless. Power is being scared and moving anyway. That's what builds you, not the good days, but the days you refuse to fold, the days you whisper, "Not today," and drag your body, your mind, your soul back into alignment. And you are writing your own meditations now, not with ink, but with action. Every choice you make is a sentence, every sacrifice, a paragraph, every battle won inside, a chapter. And when your book is closed, may it say this: he fought, he grew, he became who he was meant to be. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more men who are anchored, who don't just talk about purpose, they embody it, who don't just study discipline, they live it, who don't just read about truth, they speak and suffer for it. That is who you are becoming. A rare man, a dangerous man, a free man. And you'll know it not by what you achieve, but by what no longer controls you. When distraction stops pulling you, when impulse no longer owns you, when fear becomes fuel, not a chain, when peace becomes your baseline, not a prize, that is when you've won. That is when the war within becomes your greatest victory. This world is not fair. It will test you without mercy. It will break men who are hollow inside. But for the ones who have fought and won the war within, it becomes a playground for purpose, because the world doesn't change. You do. And that changes how you walk through it. You stop begging for peace because you are peace. You stop chasing validation because you validate yourself through discipline. You stop fearing the storm because you became the storm. And when others drift, you remain. When others fold, you rise. When others wait for motivation, you move with intention. That is the man the world can't control. That is the man life cannot shake. Not because he's superhuman, but because he's chosen to master what most ignore. You were never meant to stay soft. You were never meant to coast quietly into mediocrity. Everything inside you was built for impact, for intensity, for truth. But the path to that version of you is not found in ease. It is carved through discomfort, chosen in silence, and earned one small victory at a time. So stop asking, how long will it take? Start asking, how far can I go if I refuse to quit? Because the answer to that is terrifying and beautiful. You have no limit. The only ceiling you will ever face is the one you build inside your own mind. And the moment you shatter that, the moment you stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing yourself, everything begins to move. You've spent enough time negotiating with the enemy inside. It's time to declare victory, not with noise, but with consistency, with action, with silence so loud it silences the world. You win the war within every time you show up, every time you say yes to growth and no to distraction, every time you honor your word when no one's watching, every time you fall down 7 and rise 8. It's not the battle itself that matters. It's who you become in the fight, and you are becoming unstoppable, because the man who wins the war within, he cannot be broken. He doesn't crumble under pressure. He doesn't fear change. He doesn't chase. He creates. And when he speaks, the world listens, not because he demands it, but because he's earned it. So what now? You return to the battlefield every morning, every hour. You don't wait for peace. You bring it. You don't hope for strength, you build it. You don't pray for the world to change. You change yourself until nothing the world throws at you can break what's inside. You want freedom? Earn it. You want power? Train for it. You want greatness? Then make every thought, every action, every breath a vote for the man you were born to become. Because the war will never stop, but neither will you. So fight, not for attention, not for applause. Fight for the man in the mirror, the one who knows what you're capable of, the one who's watched you struggle, the one who's begging you to rise. You've come too far to stop now. You've suffered too much to fold, so rise and win the war within.